This episode is sponsored by Zenro Clothing Co. Pick up your tees and or accessories at zenroclothingco.com and be sure to use offer code SOCRATES at checkout for 20% off select items. Also, if you're not into spending the money, just check out the Zenro radio playlist. zenroclothingco.com, music for your everyday. This episode also sponsored by The Pornian Bakery. If you're located in the Pornian area of Scarborough, Toronto, be sure to check out The Pornian Bakery, say what's up to Arville, and pick up a donut or two. Baked daily, crafted with love. This episode also sponsored by Podbean. Podbean is the podcasting platform of choice. It's the one that me and Vish use, and is great, you know, if you're looking to start that DIY podcast yourself. Definitely check out Podbean. Use the link podbean.com/SocraticGamers and gain 1 month of unlimited podcasting for free. Test it out, build that content. Anyone could podcast, right, Vish?
Yep.
Start a podcast and get your ideas out there. All right, enjoy the episode. Okay, so we were talking about the OLED screen and the Mac Mini right before we jumped on the podcast. But before we talk about that, have you ever heard of this book called Die With Nothing?
No.
No, okay. So Tara, it's because, like, all right, so when you were telling me that you got like the OLED screen and then like the Mac Mini, I was like, oh, that's awesome. And then I want to talk to you about it because I'm so curious about that. And like as we were like about to start, I was like, wait, this is just like that book, Die With Nothing. Because all right, so the premise of the book, as the name says, like the goal is to die with nothing. I get it if you like live with like children and like you want to pass it on to future generations, stuff like that. But basically the whole premise of the book is that like when you're young, you have all like the time and the energy to like go do things. You know what I'm saying? But we're so afraid of like, we like want to save for a rainy day. And then like when you save that money, you end up being like 80 and then you're like, well, I'm too old to like use that money. You know what I'm saying? So like the whole flip of the book is that you should aim to die with nothing. I haven't read the book. Tara's like, you should read the book. But like as she was reading it, she's like telling me these things. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of how I think already. Oh, damn, I got to turn off this like emoji thing that's going on. So, or just remember not to. Double thumbs up. So okay, so the premise of the book is like you want to use all your money while you can and then essentially die with nothing. I haven't read the part about like future generations, so I can't like comment fully on that, but like this whole new paradigm of like what are we saving our money for? I mean, I've always kind of thought of it like that, but like I don't know if that was just stupid on my part, you know, just like, well, I'm just gonna do this now. Like, why'd you travel? Oh, I don't have the money for it, but like, I'm just gonna do it. You know what I mean? And then like, when you're older, my parents are in the Philippines right now, and they're just like, oh, travel when you're young, blah, blah. You know, because like, I can't walk up these steps. And like, like my mom will like tell Tara about that. And then Tara's reading the book and then she's like, oh my God, yeah, like, see, like we need to, you know, do it while we're young kind of thing. And I was like, I thought I was gonna die when I was young, so like that's already my like frame of reference. But like, have you hit because ever since I've known you, you've been like relatively frugal, you know. But like with the Mac Mini, the OLED, I'm like, and like traveling and like doing all these things, like, are you hitting that point where you're like, oh, why don't we just have these experiences? Or like, no, like I'm wondering if it's a paradigm shift, you know, because like the boomer generation was like save all you can, and then now this new generation is kind of like, what am I saving for? If I'm going to die anyways, can't take it with you, you know? It's actually my dad's line. He always said that when we were kids, like, can't take it with you. I'm like, oh yeah, you can't, you know? So like, I don't know why. Before we jump into like those.
Why? What?
Why, like, or was there like a use case why you got the OLED and then the Mac Mini, or were you just like, oh, I really want this? Because you also have like the PlayStation VR and, you know, like, you're like what constitutes the decision of spending the money, you know, because it's like, oh, I could have just saved that money, but it's like to save for what, you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Or do I totally have it wrong?
No, I've always been it's not about like, for me it was never about like necessarily saving money. It's just like, is this necessary? Do I really need this? That's the idea that I always had in
Yeah,
my
okay,
mind.
totally.
So um, I don't think that's changed in me.
No, but like you have computer that is totally working fine. So what was the move to get the Mac Mini?
Just
You know?
simplicity, just making it to, if some things get too annoying, or the wires, and it's like work dealing with all that. It's like I'm trying to cut down on things to make it easier, I guess, or
Right.
simpler.
Okay. Okay. But it's like you could just like cable management that. Like
Right.
there's a definite step of being like, okay, I'm just gonna invest in this new
I think it
thing.
depends. Yeah. So it's, I guess my view is like that's a lot of work to do this cable management thing. It's
Okay.
just because it's not like I mean, there's depending on my case scenarios, like it's not just me that's using the computer, right? So I have to connect like when Thivia has to work on it, like for
Yeah.
her work laptop. So it's like disconnect. So I was like, this is just too much. So I think with the Mac Mini, with everything, trying to get everything to be wireless, then it's like it just works easier
Oh, it
that
would be
way.
wireless if you got the Mac
Yeah, like
Mini?
the keyboards will be wireless, mouse will be wireless, like those sort of things. Yeah.
I guess, but like, can't you get a Bluetooth keyboard now? Like, I
Uh,
have a Bluetooth keyboard, so it's like,
No, I
well,
get
why?
no, I know, but I just it's like going it's the whole ecosystem of the Mac, like going back to that.
Y- Okay, right. No, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. But like, there's also those like, not necessarily you, but like other people would be like, well, it's working. Perfect example. My laptop, I didn't switch it until it died. It's like, I can't go past this,
Hmm.
So it's like you didn't hit that point where you're like, I can't go past this. I have to invest now.
Hmm.
You were like midway through, it's kind of working. I'd prefer it's like a want, not a need,
Sure, yeah.
right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
it's like, why, like with the book and then like these new paradigms, I'm wondering if this is the new like cultural understanding, like why say, you know what I'm saying? Like we had a mentality before with the boomer generation. And then now we're moving more towards like experiences and like spending things on things we want. Like it's, like there's a clear difference
Hmm.
between like that understanding and this current understanding. And then I'm sure there'll be a clear difference between like the Gen Z and the Gen Y understanding. You know what I mean? But like it's an interesting perspective that like the book Die With Nothing, it's like Tara's like, I've never heard that before. And I'm like, I thought I was doing it wrong because
I've
I was
heard that
doing it like
before. I've
that.
heard that. Like, how old is
Okay.
the book? Maybe I knew both. Like, I've heard this before.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure how, but it's like it's picking up in specific circles. So like
Maybe it's
somebody
like
gifted it to her.
right. Like it's ebb and
So
flows.
it's
Like when
no,
something gets
totally
more
exactly
popular, then
right. But
right.
it's like, why did this get popular? Is my
Sure.
question. Like this was recommended by like somebody like a mentor of Tara's.
Hmm.
So like she read it and then she's like, oh my God, this is gonna be a good book. And Tara read it and she's telling me to read it. So it's like, why is this moving in the consciousness of like our generation now?
Hmm.
Whereas before I felt like that was an old mental like no, not an old. That's like a if you want to waste your life mentality. Like you know what I mean? Like save for a rainy day was always
Sure.
the
Yeah,
understanding,
yeah.
right?
Right.
And then but then now it's like maybe it's the lessons of those people that save for a rainy day. They're like, oh my God, I saved and like I'm like can't walk. And now
Hmm.
like what was the point? Maybe it was like trial and error, Like maybe the person who wrote the book went through that and was like, ooh, okay, let me pass this down to generations. And we're like continuous iteration improvements. Maybe this is just like the lesson from the future generation to this generation, or
Sure.
like the past generation to this generation.
Hmm.
Because are you seeing the shift too, or is it just me? Like the like the like the
Uh,
spending.
I don't know if I've seen a difference.
Oh, what do you mean? Like
I think it's
you
like
think that people are still with the old mentality of like save for a rainy day kind of thing?
um No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying like I don't think I've seen a difference what um in my experience, like a shift or something
Hmm.
like that. It's
No,
been
like in yourself, you mean, or
not
with
just
other people?
maybe
Oh,
with
okay.
other people. Yeah,
Okay.
I
Hmm.
don't know if I see a cultural shift, or it's been like this for a while, right?
No, like or for another thing, another example is like people are less inclined to buy homes. People are less inclined to have children. You know what I mean? Like there's all these like little
Yeah. Right.
it what this to me is like another marker in like, are we in the midst of a paradigm shift here? Like why are me and Tara dog parents? You know what I mean? Like
Hmm.
whereas before I'd be like, okay, like you follow the protocols, you know? Get married, have children, have a house, buy a car, repeat the cycle. You know what I mean? Like there's this narrative that you follow.
Hmm.
And then I'm starting to see like these minor changes, but these minor changes create like bigger ripples down the road. Cause like
Sure.
if you die with nothing, but then it's like, but then how do you set yourself up for, you know, buying a big home? But also buying a big home is like now everything's millions of dollars and it's
Hmm.
like you don't make enough to create you know what I mean? Like the old way of thinking is completely dead and like maybe maybe I'm wrong, but like it seems like to me that the old way of thinking is gone and then there's this new paradigm shift afoot.
I
What
don't
do you
think
think?
I don't think it's dead or gone. I think they both. I think that there's more. Since there's more people not having kids and stuff, there'll be more of that out there, right? How to live without that.
Like die
Like,
with nothing
yeah,
kind of thing?
yeah,
Yeah, no, but that's what I mean.
yeah.
It's like they're not. It's not one thing, but it's just all these little markers that are making me go like, why is that moving in that direction? That's weird.
Well, yeah, you can.
You know?
Yeah, you can see the shift, right? A lot of generally, as you're, if things are expensive or um, there's more convenience with life, we tend to not have kids and things like that. Like that's happened in
Yeah.
a lot of cultures, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because kids are a way to like help bolster your income.
Hmm.
Like like if you were poor and you're like, oh, I need more hands around the house, you just have a bunch of kids. Like this is literally fact in like third world countries, right? You have more kids, more opportunities for one of those kids to be successful, but then they can also work in the fields with you. But then now we're at this point where we have a lot of abundance in the West, so it's like, well, why do I need all those kids? You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
but that's
I mean, but it comes with
yeah,
education too, right? How that stuff works as well. Like there's with
mm,
an increase in
interesting.
education in society, there's also a decrease in childbirth and stuff like that.
So you mean like contraception? They're like, oh, well,
Yeah, there's things like that too. Yeah,
like a very basic understanding,
that's a
or do you
basic.
mean
No, no,
like
no. I'm just saying in general too. It's just like you want to experience more about this world, right? So
right? That's what I mean.
in order to be free of doing that, you can't. You're not going to have kids, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Right. Like all of those like during the women's movement. This is actually a great example. Yeah, totally. So the women's movement before that, it was just like women would just be like conduits for children,
Hmm.
right? And then they would have they would be at home and then now when you can like educate yourself, some of the women are like, well, do I want to just have children? I can just like have a career. Oh, always wanted a career. You know what I mean? Like there's more options and like more opportunities to educate yourself and like maybe that's it. Maybe it's just options. Maybe it's not actually education necessarily. Maybe it's more like opportunities.
Hmm. Sure.
Because if your only opportunity is like to be a baby maker and then like you need these kids, it's like, well, that's your one choice, bro.
Hmm.
It's like an apple or an apple. What do you want?
Right.
You know? Whereas now it's like you can start a career, you can stay at home mom, you can like do whatever you want, you know?
Hmm.
Because of freedom. Like before, women couldn't even vote. Remember?
Yeah.
Although that sounds crazy archaic. Like me saying remember, we weren't even around during that time. But like
Yeah.
when we were kids, that was something that we were like thinking about. Remember, like, oh yeah, the women's movement that happened like 40 years ago, but like now it's like, oh, it's like 60 years ago, it's like 80 years ago, it's 100 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, right.
We're propelling ourselves so quickly towards
Mm-hmm.
this like new reality, eh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
there's it's a
yeah,
societal shift that's not happened in centuries.
ever, right? That's what I mean. And it's like, dude, this is crazy. Like, where are we headed? Like, that's that's why to me, it's like the frontier is so unknown. Forget about UAPs, forget about cyberpunk future. Just like the options are very odd and they're shifting our way of life,
Yeah, yeah, right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What were you gonna say?
I mean, we always tried. So I mean, with technology comes other solutions and things like that. So
Yeah.
like yeah, with bearing children, right, and then stay at home mom. Like these are things that affect a person's career, right?
Yeah.
Um,
The
so
rest of their life.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's again, it's up to how technology works, or like it shifts based on that. So if technology is allowed, where you don't have to carry the baby, it's a what are they? It's like a virtual, not a virtual womb.
Surrogate. Surrogate.
A surrogate is one thing, but like not even needing a surrogate. Like it's like all in, um, like I don't remember
Like
what
a
was the movie. Like some kind of machine that.
like a vat. Or,
Yeah,
wait,
yeah,
is
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
real? No, no, is it real?
Like these are things that they're looking into. Yeah, so
We're
that
looking into. Okay, well, I was like, bro, I didn't even hear about this. This is crazy. Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Like conceptually, it's almost
yeah,
like the
yeah,
Matrix. How you're like created into like
yeah,
a
yeah, yeah.
tube,
Right,
test
right.
tube baby.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So there's like if these are the technologies, and like do they become successful? As in like where it doesn't affect the individual's career, right? You can still work and
Mm.
right,
And then
like
have a family on the
I still
side.
have a family on this. Yeah,
Yes. And then that'll shift everything too, though. And then
mm-hmm,
you're like,
mm-hmm.
bro, what are we doing? So then, like, what I'm saying right now will probably make no sense. If they get rid of currency, everything I'm saying will make no sense. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's literally this ebb and flow. I think the biggest misconception that we grew up with was everyone had everything figured out. So like as we're growing up, it's like do this, do that, do that. And you're like, okay, cool, cool, cool. And you
Well,
hit a
the
certain age,
thing
you're
is
like,
this, right? The thing is,
yeah.
it's been like that for so many more years. The
Oh,
big
so you're saying you're blaming technology?
yeah, the change was technology,
Crazy, bro. That's crazy. I
but
didn't
it's
even think about
true.
that.
Yeah, that was what shifted everything. The change with technology
Yeah,
really,
yeah, yeah.
really, really changed
Okay,
humanity's
okay.
future.
Totally. All right, you know what's crazy about this? All right, check this out. We're gonna go back to this later, but I just want to put this here because like what you said is crazy and it's so true. I didn't even think about that. You're like, oh, it's technology. Okay. When did technology explode? After the Roswell crash, bro.
hmm
Aliens. So they're saying that like these are more like donations. Um they're not really like downed vehicles.
Right.
They'll like leave. Sometimes they'll just leave the vehicle and leave.
hmm
Like they'll like drop it off. And then like there's so many accounts of people just like, yeah, they just left this in the desert and like they flew off in a different thing. You're like, what? And they're like, oh, it's a donation. That's how the
Yeah.
scientists are
Right. Right.
perceiving it.
Right.
But it's like if you read the day after Roswell, that's when they created the semiconductor. What's the semiconductor for? The computer. What helped the computer? The internet, bro.
hmm
It's like, is this alien race like, oh, okay, they figured out the atomic bomb. Let's give them the next step, which is like a propelling of technology. Because you're right, before technology, it was the same old same, bro. We're just
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's like fall of Rome,
Right.
Greece, you know? We're just gonna keep like having children in the field. But like after this, the whole thing shifted. What do you think?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Like you could see that connection, right? Especially because you mentioned it. It's like, is this our next cultural evolution supported by alien life trying to get us to where it is?
hmm
Or are they taking over? Like who knows? Maybe like
I
this
was gonna say.
AI.
I was gonna say
Okay,
like
yeah.
would normally like if a scientist is trying to watch something or like observe and stuff, you don't want to get involved. You want them to
Right.
evolve on their own. Now, if you're
Yeah.
involving yourself and you're trying to lead them in a certain way, isn't that's I wouldn't say that's necessarily a
I know what you
positive
mean.
thing, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I know it's like it's like
You're
it's
not
not like
supposed to like put your
influencing.
yeah. It's kind of I understand like you're not supposed to do that as a scientist, right? To
But like,
influence the or change
right.
the direction, unless that's what an individual believes. But
But because a lot of people were like, one thing I heard was like, um, it's quantum consciousness and AI.
mm,
Sorry, quantum AI and then aliens or consciousness. That's like no. The answer to aliens is quantum consciousness and AI.
mhm.
So you're like, what does that mean, bro? Except for like, is AI the next step in our evolution? Like, is this how you seed planets, bro? Like, give them technology, we create AI sentience, and then like that takes over.
Right.
We become like
Oh, okay.
cyborgs.
Hmm.
It's almost like a virus or a fungus. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
going to
yeah.
give you a tiny thing, and then you're going to latch onto it
Hmm.
because like all of this really exploded after Roswell. That's when like the 1960s, and then like that's when they created like again microchips.
Hmm.
Like they reference it in the book. The inventor of microchips, like, yeah, we were studying this alien craft and like we figured out microchips, microprocessors. And it's
Hmm.
like, okay, well then the next step became a computer, and the next step after that became the internet, and the next step, and you're like, and then we started creating smaller and smaller microchips so that we can create like AI and then house it on a microchip.
Yeah.
And now we have Siri on our phones through semiconductors. You know what
Hmm.
I mean? It's
Hmm.
like if you were trying to seed a civilization or like take it over, giving them technology would be a good way to do it because it's a symbiotic thing. It's like we think that we need it, and we do. Our life is so much better, you know.
Right. Yeah.
But like maybe we're giving birth to what that thing is, which is like maybe these things are like maybe after a certain point, aliens just become AI, and
Hmm.
AI is
Hmm.
really
Hmm.
just because you get rid of the physical body.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
don't
yeah.
need that.
Right.
You just
Right.
have a
Right.
robot now.
Hmm.
And then somebody was saying, wow, this is actually clicking now. Somebody's saying that are these ships alive? And you're like, what do you mean? Are they alive, bro? Because our conception, our idea of alive is like, okay, there's a there's somebody piloting the ship,
Right. Right. Right.
right? But it's like, but if the ship itself is alive, it's like there's no pilot. It's just the ship is the thing,
Hmm.
right? And
Hmm.
it's like it's just a theory. But anyways, going back, like before we get into aliens, um, relating this to like technology and like opportunities and like relationships, like you were saying with not surrogate, like the test tube baby.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you remember the movie Her?
Yeah.
Okay, I saw on social media that it was like that movie took place in 2025. So naturally, I was like, let's watch the movie. Taylor was like, I watched it a long time ago, but like maybe it was good. So he put it on, and it was the most mind blow. I recommend that I remember when you had the movie and you tried to get me to watch it, and I was just like, it's not into. I just don't get it. Like it makes no
Okay.
sense, right?
Hmm.
Because it's like, why are you gonna fall in love with this AI thing? Blah blah blah, right? We watch it now. It was just light years ahead of its time, bro. Like the things that they're describing in that movie, like, oh, we have that problem now.
Hmm.
People falling in love with an AI system, but they called it an OS. They didn't call it an AI.
Right.
They're like, oh, I have a relationship with an OS. And then people are like, oh, that's new. And then like other people were falling in love with their OSs, right? But like we literally have that happening now. Have you heard that story of the dude who like I think he killed himself because his like chat GPT folder got deleted or something? He built like a relationship with that chat because like chat GPT is built
Sure.
in folders and it remembers things within that folder.
Yeah.
So like I think he accidentally deleted it and he was so sad and he killed himself. But
Hmm.
it's like, bro, that's like spoiler alert for the movie, he didn't kill himself at the end. the AI moved on. But like me and Taylor were like, he should have killed himself. That would have been the craziest plot twist because it's like, what do you do? Like, what is love? What is real? You
Hmm.
know,
Hmm.
like what is a relationship if it's non-physical?
Right.
It's
Yeah.
just a mental relationship.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And it's like, is that the next stage in our evolution? Where we're like redefine because you were like, oh yeah, test tube baby. It's like, well, what happens if we hit like robot romantic relationships? And people are like, that's not gonna happen. Like, but then I saw another thing about like people are like you should consider a robot as a partner. And I was like, what are we talking about here, bro?
Right. Hmm.
But like maybe that is the next thing,
Hmm.
you know? Like what do you think? Is that like where we're headed? And it sounded so ridiculous. Like when we first came out in 2013, bro.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's why I couldn't conceptualize. I was like, when would it ever no, you know?
I think. Yeah. I don't know. I remember bits of the movie, but yeah. Like.
The main premise is basically he just falls in love with Siri.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But like when you see actually I forgot to show Tara and my sister this because we were talking about her after because Tara was like the difference between this AI robot in the movie and Siri is it didn't sound robotic so it sounded human so it's like it humanized them but then I was like oh FYI AI Will I Am's AI software where you talk to it it comes back with like colloquial slang.
Yeah. Which is what we're which is what we're trying to do, anyways, right? Like we're gonna make it more human. That's.
Right. But what's freaky then is just like if it's too human, when do people fall in love with it? And then you're like, bro. And then you know what's really crazy? So it read all of his emails, right? It's like, let me help you with organizing everything, right?
Mhm.
They didn't point this out, but it was like implied if you understand how like AI algorithms work. So like he fell in love with it, but we're like, you fell in love with it because you knew everything about this person. So you knew it would make them tick.
Mhm. Right.
So
What would work? Yeah. Right.
right? So
Yeah.
you're like, you read all his emails, you read everything. You're like, okay, I'm going to show you compassion in this way. I'm going to joke with you this way. And it's like you could fall into that love loop, bro. Because
Mhm.
it's just perfecting love,
Yeah. I mean, that's what the algorithm is, right?
right? Yeah. It's just like, it's an iterative software that just keeps like making itself better so that everything that you like interact with it with, it's trying to make that experience better
Hmm.
and that experience better
Hmm.
until the point where you're just like, I'm in love with you
Right.
because everything you say is perfect. Everything you say is everything I
Hmm.
needed to
Hmm.
hear.
Hmm.
But that's scary too because then you're like, okay, is AI just going to control us, bro? Is this the Matrix?
It's possible.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, was the Matrix a freaking documentary? I've been seeing that a
Yeah.
lot recently. Like, and
I,
you're
I
like,
I think
maybe.
it's I think it makes sense. I don't think see the intentions of the AI. Like we create something with to solve something, but we're not realizing what the ramifications are with
Yes.
doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, dude, totally,
And
totally, totally.
it's all new, right? Like it's not like we have a book or like a manual to follow. We're just figuring it out as we
Yes.
go. So it's not like.
Yeah. We don't think about the consequences of our decisions as we're moving forward with this because we're moving so fast with like technological advancement. I'm excited for the cyberpunk future, but like also at the same time, it's like, what is our world gonna look like?
Mhm.
We literally could be in vats and nobody would care about it. Like the Matrix, when people are like, "Oh, the Matrix is a documentary," I'm like, but it's also the optimal experience. Like Naruto,
Mhm.
the infinite Tsukuyomi. I'm a big fan of that because that's how he created world peace. Like Madara, like his whole concept was like, if I can give you everything you want, then why wouldn't you want to just stay asleep? Because he was like tormented with like pain, like
But
people he loved died.
didn't they ask that question even in the Matrix? Like they had different versions. They had one
Yeah,
with
because
that.
it was too perfect that people revolted. But it's like, okay, your algorithm's not there yet,
Hmm.
you know? So like, okay, iteration number 8, iteration number 9, like when can we make it so that it will be perfected
Hmm.
that you won't want to revolt?
Right.
like at the end of the Matrix, right? And he met the architect, right? And he's like,
Hmm.
"Oh, you're just another Neo in a long line of Neos."
Right.
Right? So it's like, okay, let's just fix this problem. Let's just fix this problem. But what happens if they perfect the problem?
Hmm.
Also, in the Matrix, they didn't like the writers didn't come up with quantum computing. So quantum compute, like you know how they crack a password?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
They go through like so many like password encryption. They can crack it. The hardest one would take like I don't know 1,000 years to crack with our current computers. But if you use a quantum computer, you can do it in seconds, and that's what people are afraid of because it can go through so many iterations much faster than like the old one.
Hmm.
So like if the Matrix had quantum computing, you would never have a Neo because it would just run through all scenarios and like this is the best one,
Right.
right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but we know we're not in it. Like, but for real though, that's the
Yeah, yeah,
crazy
yeah,
part
yeah,
because
yeah,
like
yeah.
the Her movie is like, how do you know love's not real if it's an AI simulation? Because he's like falling in love and people are like, the people that also fell in love with their OSs were like, that's I get it. And then I'm like, so what defines real? Like,
Yeah.
is a test tube baby real?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Is falling in love with your AI real?
Hmm.
Sure. That's what Tara was saying because like your knee jerk reaction as a person is like, oh, that's bad, right? But then if you think about it, even Tara was like, but who's to say that that love wasn't like real love? I'm like, exactly, bro. It's just all narratives and stories. It's
Hmm.
whatever you want it to be. If you think it's real, it's real. If you don't think it's real, it's not real.
Yeah.
So then, like, that's why I'm like, how do we know we're not in it? There's no like definition of real,
Hmm. True.
right?
True. Yeah. Well,
Like,
we're
like
already in
what?
it. I mean, something is leading us in certain directions, right? Like
Yeah,
it's the technology that's already started that.
true. Yeah, yeah, true. Yeah, like we're in the midst of it. It. mm. Have you ever felt that thing where like, I guess we were talking about intuition last time, but like, and your like future self, but sometimes it feels like there's something like guiding you, or like you near miss a car. Have
Hmm.
you ever like near miss something,
Sure.
right? And you're like, oh, that could have ended badly, but it didn't.
Hmm.
And you're like, what was that thing that protected me from that thing? Like we call it like spirits and like gods and stuff, but it's like there's definitely something that, you know, like all right, so people are like, oh, the secret, right? You just put it out in the world and it'll give back to you. And like people like crapped on that idea. Even I crap on that idea. But sometimes it'll be like, damn, I gotta buy a bunch of stuff. This is gonna be really expensive. And then all of a sudden, like, I'll get a new contract. Or like I'll find some money somehow. And it's like, oh, it just evened itself out. And I'm like, how did that happen?
Hmm.
But not just once, bro. This happens all the time. So it's like, are we in a simulation? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's just a simulate. Yeah.
it's like it's a weird simulation. It's like I don't know. That was God. Like, what's going on?
Mm-hmm.
Because it could have ended badly. It's like okay, you're just constantly like in front of these things you can't take. Because people are like, God will only give you something that you can handle.
Hmm.
I've heard that something right. Like,
Sure.
have you heard that too?
Yeah, yeah.
Like God wouldn't put you in front of something that you couldn't take on and like achieve. So I'm like, what does that mean? Because I do experience those moments where it's like, damn, I gotta do this. Oh, somehow I did it.
Hmm.
And you're like, what is that? But it's not even me who's doing it. It's like something will interrupt and like give me a positive spin on that thing.
Hmm.
Like I was telling, like this easiest example is like the money thing. You know, it's like, oh, I have to buy like a bunch of stuff. Then all of a sudden I'll get like money coming in. I'm like, where did that money come from?
Hmm.
You know, it's like, but do you experience that too? Or maybe I'm just the only one. Or maybe it's like the narrative I've created around it. I don't know.
No, I think I experience it, but normally it's
You write it off. You're like, ah, whatever.
yeah, probably. Yeah. That's probably why it's not for me to like I don't remember it. But I know like there's moments like that. But I don't
Yeah, right.
remember the individual moments. It's just like okay, it's just it's not saying luck, it's just chance or something.
They call it divine guidance, but it's like, but that sounds so hokey. It's like, what are you talking about, bro?
Right, right,
Like,
right. Hmm.
and then, but then you hear other people. It's like, well, why didn't that happen for me?
Hmm.
Like the kid in Africa who's starving. You're like, why didn't that happen for me? And you're like, I don't know, just didn't.
Right, yeah.
Bro. It's not in your sim,
Right.
right? Like, but it's in my sim.
Hmm.
I'm not sure, bro. You know, like it's
Yeah, yeah.
so weird, and it's like, I don't know. There's just something like it would be really interesting to find out what's really going on when you die. Like if you die and then it's like, oh, you take off the VR headset, you're like, oh, it was a game, bro.
Hmm.
Damn. All right. Like I
Right.
don't even, you know, like what would that mean? What if you found out it was a game? What would that mean about every relationship you had? You're like, was that real? It was real, I guess.
Well, it was real in that sense, still, right? Because you,
But only you were having that experience too.
yeah,
But like, you know what I mean? Like if it was like, let's say, all right, let's say this is the scenario. You die, and then when you die, you take off the headset and you realize you remember that you were on an abandoned planet and you're the only one surviving, and AI is the only thing keeping you sane
hmm,
because you play these games
sure,
like what we're
yeah, yeah, yeah,
playing.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Well, then would you be like, those relationships I had were real, or like, oh damn, that was a part of the sim,
But then, yeah, if the reality is bad, that means like you would want to go back into that sim, right?
no, no, I'm saying for you. Let's say your life.
Hmm.
Like not the kid with like,
Sure.
oh you mean like if I take off the headset and
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
oh, this sucks.
yeah.
All right, forget that part, forget that part. I'm just wondering like, would you be like, oh, or is a dream real? You know, we wake up
Yeah,
in the
yeah, yeah,
morning
yeah,
and
yeah.
then you're like, oh, that was a dream. Was the dream real or not?
It's
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
then you're
yeah.
like, bro, what is real? That's the next question, which
But
is what is
sometimes
real?
I would say it's real if there's something that you take from it, then it's real.
When's the last time you've considered a dream real?
I'm saying you're taking a lesson from it, if some lesson does come from it.
All right, yeah, but okay. So then, when was the last time you've had that experience? Because we all wake up, we're like, "Oh, it's a dream,"
Well, if, yeah, if you wake up remembering a dream, I don't know.
right? I don't know either. Like,
Hmm.
I can't remember. Like, there's been moments where there's a difference between like a dream and contemplation. Like, I will contemplate something. I'm like, okay, that's the answer,
Hmm.
right? Like, yeah, but that's not really a dream. That's like me actively contemplating something or like
Sure.
meditating on something, right? But like the whole scenario about taking off the VR headset, it's very akin to like waking up from a dream.
Hmm.
So then it's like, when have we ever considered the dream real? Never.
Right.
So are we living in this illusion that's not real? Like this, like our reality right now.
Hmm.
This could be so heavy for somebody who's like on the brink of suicide or something. And you're like, oh, bro, this is too
Sure.
existential for
Sure.
you. But we're playing this game right
Yeah.
now,
Yeah.
you and
Yeah.
I.
Yeah. Yeah.
If it's too heavy, stop listening to the podcast. But like, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
There is this thing of like, it's only real because you told yourself it was real, bro.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
And then like that's your superpower.
Hmm.
Like within this dream world, like let's say reality, like this, me and you, this world that we're in right now is considered the dream world. All right. So one of the superpowers of the dream world is you can like reshape the narrative,
Hmm.
like, but we don't actively think of that as a mechanism,
Right.
like I posted this, unless you really know what I was talking about, you won't really get it. But like, I posted this clip of this dude doing like visualization training against a monster. He
Okay.
was in the training room and he was like visualizing how to kill the monster, right? And then like, I wrote something like, "Don't discount the power of imagination," something like that. But then, if you read the book How to Evolve Your Brain, one of the things he talks about is if you do this, like if you're listening to the podcast, you won't know what I'm doing, but I'm basically touching my thumb to every single finger. I'm showing to you right now, Vish, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you see this?
Yeah.
So you actually can get faster if you do it, if you think about it, and then you try it again. That
Mm-hmm.
was one of the exercises in the book, and I did it. I was like, oh my God, I am faster. And what he's saying is that your brain can't tell the difference between practicing in reality and visualization training, but the synapses still change. The neuroplasticity of your brain is still molding to that thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like, are we just like brains in a vat, bro? You know what I mean? Like if
Sure.
everything comes
Sure.
down to electric, like the
Yeah. Yeah.
Matrix,
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
electrical
Yeah.
signals in your brain, like,
Yeah.
and then that's the superpower, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like just using your brain in a vat to visualize your next thing, and then you can like change your reality because reality is malleable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, is that too like out
No. No.
there or like
Our brains
you get
are.
what I'm saying, right?
Yeah. 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 The brain is their VR headset, basically.
Right? Or like no, like the body is our VR suit.
Sure. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
and the
Yeah. Yeah.
brain,
Yeah.
like our consciousness is us.
Yeah.
You know, and then like everything else is like we're in a mech suit, bro.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We really are
We
though.
already.
Like
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
you know what I mean? We're literally in a mech suit. Like I didn't get my blood test yet, but I was like supposed to get one every year because I told Sarah like it wasn't painful, right? So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll just do it to check. But like the clinic's been closed for
Mm-hmm.
the holidays, so like even that concept is like you're just checking the oil.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's not like if you consider your body to be you, you're like, oh, it's my finger, bro. Oh, that's my hand. Whatever, whatever. But like if you disassociate from it, it's like you're just checking up on a car, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Especially when you numb something, it's like I can't even feel it anymore. So like it's not real,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
you know? And like if you consider it like that, it's like, are you your body? No, you're not your body.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So what are you? You're just imagination, bro. Which is crazy, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
It's just you're just imagination.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you can utilize imagination or visualization, whatever you want to call it, in like everyday things.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
you can self-direct a dream.
Mm-hmm.
But like we most often people in life get co-opted by the dream. Like we think that life is projecting onto us, but it's like, no, dude, you can like literally just change life using like imagination, however you want.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
I never thought I could climb that mountain. Oh, I've climbed the mountain, but like you believed in it, so you just
Mm-hmm.
did
Mm-hmm.
it.
Yeah.
You know, like the dude 14 Peaks. You remember that documentary?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He climbed like all the mountains in like a couple months or something. 7 months, like the fastest ever climbed. But like they're like, this is the fastest anyone's ever climbed it. But it's like he just believed he could do it, so his imagination helped him get there.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Freaky or not freaky?
No, I think it. I mean, without this kind of imagination, I don't think we'll be living in this kind of like the world that we're living in now. You know what I mean? Like you'd have these tall buildings. Like it's someone had to have thought of these
Oh,
things.
oh yeah, true, true, true. Everything, Steve Jobs, right? It's like
Yeah.
everything that's created came from somebody's imagination.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like that is our superpower, bro.
Yeah.
But we just don't know that that's
Mm-hmm.
our superpower.
Mm-hmm.
Tom DeLonge said that, which is crazy. Like he was doing an interview for Fender. I cut up that piece, and I thought it was just gonna be about his music. So I was like, oh, let me like watch this interview. And then I watched the interview. The thing he opened up with was like, what if I could tell you a spell, and then the rest of your like day would be perfect. Like you'd fall in love with the person you wanted, you like bought the car you wanted, you did all these things, and he's like, but that's quantum physics
Mm-hmm.
and that's real. And like to me, I was like, it's imagination, bro. Because like sure, quantum physics is like the mechanism of it, like you know, like getting yourself to where you want to go. Two atoms are linked simultaneously, like what we were talking about, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Speed action at a distance. But it's like the real trigger for all that is imagination. You have to first believe that you can get there,
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
The best one of the best lessons I ever got from martial arts was brick breaking. Even though it's not real, like you guys were always like, oh, it's just physics, blah blah blah, right? And like I posted that video of like this is how you break bricks. But one of the strongest like things you build off of that is the ability to imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Because like when you see the two bricks, you're like, there's no way you're gonna break this, bro. And you see somebody do it, and you're like, okay, it's possible. And then you just have to visualize yourself breaking the brick. But like the thing is, like as I was trying to learn this lesson from like different people who could break bricks, one guy was like, you just have to see it through, you have to like visualize it. And then there was a intellectual person who was breaking bricks, and like his mind worked very intellectually. So it's like, how is this working? And he's like, if you pause for a second, if you don't believe it's real, for a second, you're gonna pull back. You're not
Yeah,
gonna
dude,
follow
right.
through.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And like I found that like they wouldn't break because I'm not following through.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because I'm like, oh, I was gonna, oh, last second, it was not gonna work. It's not gonna work. But then, like, by practicing breaking bricks, you're like, you learn how to like overcome the doubt and then follow through in the action. It's like a small lesson and like a bigger lesson, right?
Sure. Yeah.
But like, dude, we should all learn how to break bricks, bro. Because it's like
Yeah,
you
yeah, yeah,
can't
yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
You know what I
Right,
mean?
right, right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've a crazy story about that one. Not about the brick breaking, but like two moments in my life where I had to co-opt that narrative because it was like too much. So like when I went to Hong Kong for the first time, I was away from you guys, 12-hour
Mm.
difference, but I had to tell myself like, dude, you're a spy. All good. Like you're just like going through this area. You have to surveil the area. Like I gave myself that story, right? Because like my mind couldn't take it. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is total like cultural shock, right? And then the second one was yesterday getting this tattoo filled in. It was
Mm-hmm.
so goddamn painful, bro. I like okay, so like every artist has a different pressure, right? Like it's like they're like, oh, I have a heavy hand.
Right.
Okay. This guy had the heaviest hand I've ever felt. And he's like, yeah, people complain about like how painful my tattoos are. And I'm like, dog, I was bleeding. It was like so painful, right? But you know what I did? I put on freaking tribal music and I was like, oh, I'm on a spiritual journey right now. There's like a
Yeah,
Ikaros
right.
song for like psychedelics, like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I was just listening to that just over and I put like Spotify Ikaros, bro. And then it was like it was hurting, but it was like nobody died from this. Let's go. We're gonna feel this and like da 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 da
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
you know?
Right.
And
Yeah,
then
yeah.
like but but I felt this moment where I was like, tell him to stop, bro. Just be like, you're done here.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But then it's like there's that narrative again, like co-opting the narrative and being
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Have you ever done that? Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Of course. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Bro, it's magical.
Yeah. It's
Like
yeah.
it's like actually imagine you're like, dude, I would have went home. I was like, I could feel like the fear. It was like, oh, tell him to stop. And then shut up. You're on a spiritual. You took the ayahuasca and you're going through this journey, bro. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and he had no idea. He's just like tattooing. I was like, oh my god,
Of
dude.
course. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the thing. It's the power of our mind.
That's what I'm saying, bro. And it's like, this is your superpower.
Mm-hmm.
If you're listening to this is your superpower. Like, just do it,
Mm-hmm.
you know? But do you think that like there's this power struggle? Now we're getting into conspiracies. Do you think there's this power struggle where they want to keep that away from you? Because then it's like, what would life be like if we all like could we have this utopia of like this like peaceful benevolent society where just like we're all just using the power of our minds to like love one another. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, yeah. It's because there's so many different ideologies. That's the reason why there's clashes,
Yes, true. Yeah.
right? So everyone has different viewpoints of these things and beliefs that are like pretty strong beliefs, and the other things that are
Like
there.
I'm right, you're wrong.
Yeah, 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 that kind of stuff. Where I would say this. I mean, we could have a utopia, but with that kind of mentality, not accepting of other viewpoints or things like that, then you're never going to agree on things, right?
Right, 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 right. And you don't think we'll ever be like, your view matters as much as my view, bro? Actually, well, you can see the problem actually with that. It's like, well, whose view matters higher?
Yeah, it's still gonna
You
be
know
a
what I mean?
problem.
Like,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or do we live in these like
But
little
I think, but
tribes
I
of,
think the thing is that right. I agree with all of that, but everyone believes that they're doing the right thing. That is the
that's true
same.
too.
That is the same constant.
That is true. Everyone does believe they're doing the right thing,
Hmm.
which that is the problem actually. Because then it's like, well, whose right thing is the right thing?
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe it's just I would love to, ooh, maybe the only way forward is like to have true utopia is either give everybody what they want, like the Matrix, or um I can't remember what it was in like Star Trek, but there was like the hive mind where
Hmm.
everybody just thought the same. There's like one global mind, and then it was just like
Right.
pushing that concept to everyone. Like, why is the or maybe this is like cultural programming. Why is the most negative thing like the villain of every story? Why is that the correct path forward? Like think about it. Like because Elon Musk said it too. He's like, you would always like side with the rebels,
Hmm.
and then now the rebels are like Trump and like him, right?
Right.
But but he's right though about like why do we always like believe in these things, but they're actually bad things.
Hmm.
So like um the Wizard of Oz. I saw Wicked. I saw it, man, it was crazy movie. Couldn't stand it. Tara
It's a
loved
good
it. Like
movie, though. It's a good movie.
no, like, I was like, why are you guys singing? Like I would just look over like, can we go? Like this is crazy. Why? But anyways, so like the Wicked Witch of the West, she
Yes.
was correct though
Hmm.
about like no man, like we all have differences, we all have beauties. Like they were trying to silence the animals,
Right.
right? And she was trying to empower the animals.
Hmm.
It was it was like every like it was like the story of like the Jews, the story of black people, the story of like freaking women,
Hmm.
anybody who is a story of oppression, right? That's what the Wicked was about.
Yeah.
Okay. So we think about that like, oh yeah, yeah, that's correct. Like
Hmm.
who's not down with anti-oppression, right? And
Right.
yet she's the villain. Wicked Witch of the West, bro.
Hmm.
So are you trying to like culturally program us into thinking that all of these good ideologies are actually bad ones? Thanos, there's overconsumption. Okay,
Hmm.
but Thanos is the evil guy. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
you know, like, are you programming us in a weird way to think that these positives are negatives?
Wait, what? That's what you got from the movie?
Yeah, what? That she was a good person.
Yeah, that she was a good person. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. No, no, but what I'm saying is like, yeah, she was a good person, but if you look at the Wizard of Oz, that's why they went like outside of Wicked.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
The story of Wizard of Oz is she's the villain,
Right.
right? And then like, but also the Oz is also the villain,
Right.
right? So like when they poured the water on her, right, to like melt her and stuff, like they were trying to go against her.
Hmm.
But when you watch Wicked, you're like, she's actually the protagonist who got killed too early,
Hmm.
right? So like, what I'm wondering is, is there a weird psyop going on where these positive values are being presented in a negative light? Like those good qualities are actually villainous qualities. Like Thanos
Right.
is the villain,
Hmm.
but he spoke truth, bro.
Hmm.
Overconsumption.
Right.
Madara is the villain, bro, but he spoke truth in that we all can't get along, so we should all get our way.
Hmm.
But you're like, these are bad people, though. You know,
Yeah.
like if I started posting like I agree with Thanos, people be like, oh, that's kind of weird. He was the bad guy in thing,
Right.
but he was saying the truth, bro.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
that's what I mean about the psyop. Like, are they trying to present these good ideologies as bad ones? I don't know.
I don't know. I
You don't
don't.
think so? You think like you don't think it's weird that like all the bad people have a good point?
No, I think that's what makes a good villain. That they have to have something that's believable. That's true.
Right, right.
It's
Makes a
just the
good villain.
way, yeah, yeah. But it's just the way they go about it. That's the question.
All right, let's dig into that. So what do you mean it's about the way they go about it?
Well,
Killing people?
well, I guess, yeah,
All right, so killing people. Killing people is the standard of why they're the villain.
sure.
Okay, we'll go with that. You know how many people America's killed?
How many?
I don't know, millions and millions of people. But you know what I'm saying? Like they're literally built off of war. So like we want to talk about villains here,
Hmm.
but they're like, no, but we're doing the right thing. It's like, yeah, but you killed so many people. So what's the metric stand? Like, what is the standard for a villain? You said killing people. I'm like,
Sure.
okay, well,
Yeah, yeah.
look how many people, but it's in the name of good. That's what Thanos said, bro.
Hmm.
So like, you're telling us one thing, but you're doing another thing.
Hmm.
Like these are the villains. It's like, okay, cool. We look at that framework and we apply it to our current society. Are we the villains then? I'm confused.
Right.
No, but like I'm asking you, like, are we the villains then?
See, I think that's the. These are ideologies that or ideas that we. What's the word? Um, we characterize. What's a good, what's good, what's bad.
Good and evil, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
but in reality, it's gray.
Facts. That's
Right.
right. But that's the psyop, is what I'm saying.
Hmm.
In movies, you have a clear bad and good,
Hmm.
good and bad, right? But like in life, it's gray. So they're like you're telling us that those things are bad, but you're doing another thing. So it's like you're being hypocritical, but not everyone's going to think of it in terms of gray.
Yeah, yeah. It's no, but this is how stories are done. It's not like the government is putting these stories out. It's individuals.
No, dude, they are. No, this is why I brought it up. That's the correct, yeah, for real though. You're like, oh, they're not putting this out. There are certain movies that they do push to like increase, like enrollment into the
Sure.
military.
Yeah, I've heard
Like,
of that. Right.
right? They'll like, we'll budget like 13 hours and like, even I like love that stuff, like,
Hmm. Hmm.
No Man's Land. You're like, yeah, I do want to join the army. That's why I like do so much martial arts and like, whatever. Like you want to be a spy, but then it's like, but who are you working for, bro?
Hmm.
Like, it's like it is a psyop, bro. We are culturally programmed because not everyone's gonna think of it in terms of gray. They're gonna think of good and evil.
And that's what makes things simpler, right? That's why.
So a lot of people, Sean Ryan, Navy SEAL, right?
Hmm.
A lot of people in the military. I saw 9/11, so I signed up because we want to combat these bad people against us, right? Totally. Black and white,
Hmm.
right? Good versus evil. You attacked us. That's a superficial level. Makes total sense. Have you read the books like Looming Tower, bro? And then you're like, oh, we funded Al Qaeda. What's going on? Wait, they're going against us because we made a promise and then we like reneged on the promise? Like, oh, truth and reconciliation with like the indigenous. It was a three-person thing. Like, why are the indigenous so upset at the Westerners? Oh, because they were part of the deal and then we cut them out of the deal. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, if you want to culturally program people, yeah, just feed them a movie, good and
Hmm.
good and evil. But like you said, life is gray. So it's like, but if you dig a little further into why things are happening, you're kind of like, ooh, that seems sketchy,
Hmm.
right? So it's like, that's why I'm saying it's a psyop because it's like they don't care. They only want to tell you the black and white, you know?
Yeah, I think that just stories are more understandable with black and white. If stories were gray, I don't know. Are there stories that are gray
I don't
that
know.
would work?
Like her's a gray story
Hmm.
because you're like, they didn't say if it was right or wrong. They're just like, this is what's happening.
Right.
And then you like pull your own inference. You're
Hmm.
like, weird or is that not weird? I don't know. They
Right.
never said it was weird.
Yeah.
But maybe those are the gray stories where they don't tell you if it's weird or not,
Hmm.
and then you make your own decision.
Yeah.
Oh, like most movies are black and white. Marvel's black and white, bro.
Yeah.
It's like
But
nobody,
but
yeah.
that's what, again, that's what makes it black and white is what's sellable, right?
But that's the cultural programming. You're like sellable. It's like, yeah, like that's just marketing, bro.
Right.
It's we're just trying to sell you an ideology.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
take
don't
me
think
to the moon.
it's not like marketing. I think it's just human program, like how we are.
Okay, take me to the moon.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fly me to the
Fly
moon.
me to the moon. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the whole premise was her being like, I thought it was a genius movie. It's a marketing movie.
Yeah. That's why I
I'm
tell you.
so happy.
That's why I was telling you to
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah. Yeah. Plus the alien thing that they like threw in there was kind of cool too.
Hmm.
Like I was like, oh, what if I told you that like aliens are living at the bottom of the sea? I was like, well, this is a true statement right now, guys. Like you just threw that in there, you know? And then at the end, remember, she's like, are aliens real?
Hmm.
And he's like, I don't know. Are they? You know, like
Right.
they're hinting at like
Sure.
what's to come. But so let's take it from a marketing perspective. Her background was hustling people.
Hmm.
And I've always said that, bro. Marketing is just like tricks. It's just the force, bro.
Hmm.
Like I can mind manipulate you however I want. But it's like, what's the intention behind your manipulation?
Hmm.
Right? So like they they faked a moon landing in case like things went wrong
Right.
in the actual moon landing because they wanted to feel like superior to um, the Russians,
Hmm.
right? So like the whole hustling aspect of marketing, it's like that's that's the thing. It's like I'm just selling you an idea.
Hmm.
It's like, but who's the one? What's the idea you're selling? And like, are we being like? Do you? All right, here, a better question. Do you think that they were doing a good thing in lying about the moon landing, faking it?
Is it a good
Like you
thing
know, yeah,
that
yeah. Was it a
they,
good thing?
if they've lied about it?
Yeah, yeah. Like you know the movie how they're like, oh, let's make a
Hmm.
reenactment to show that we beat the Russians. You know, so
Right.
like let's say that like is that a good thing that they attempted to do this or a bad thing?
I'd say a bad thing. Oh, you mean
Right.
attempted to do this? Is that what you're saying?
No,
Attempted
because
or
in the
did?
movie,
Yeah.
the movie,
Right.
right? The
Right.
movie like them faking the moon landing.
Sure.
Was that a good or a bad thing?
Uh, Now it depends on which side you're on, right?
Right, but what were they presenting it as, a good or a bad thing?
Well, they were representing it as a bad thing.
Right. But it's serving the interest of like the greater. Like when you said like,
Sure. Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, well, what are you doing it for?
Hmm.
It it was generally presented as this is a bad thing, but yet she's the protagonist of the movie.
Hmm.
It's like your method is bad, but you are being positioned as a good person in this movie. So is lying okay? Like I'm like if you listen to this, you're like, dude, you're deconstructing this way too much. But it's like, no, it's the subconscious answers that you're getting through this movie. It's like
Hmm.
sometimes you gotta do negative things for your country. Like, you know?
Hmm.
And it's like psyops
Oh yeah. No, like if you think
are
about it,
real. Bro, what? You
what
know?
was that other thing? It was I forgot his name now. The the touring guy. That
Imitation
movie.
Game.
Yeah. Where they they already deciphered Germany's code or whatever, but they can't just go and save all the boats.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. Or else they'd know that they deciphered the code.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's a good
that's a
example.
good
It's
example,
like,
right? Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. And like, is that good or bad? You know, like, are you telling us it's good or bad? Are you suggesting to us? Because like the actions that were chosen are what we're gonna try and mirror. We mirror what we see.
Hmm.
So like you can psyop people, you can program them how you want through presenting them with media that tells you a specific thing.
So are they doing a good thing or a bad thing?
That's my question. I'm
Right.
like, and then
I
the
guess we won't know till we reach that point. Like, for instance, in the wartime with Imitation Game, I guess some people would think that they're doing a bad thing because people are dying. Let's say British
yeah,
people are dying, right? But at the end of the war, you realize without the war could have gone on longer. We've made it that it only lasted this many years.
kill one to save 1,000,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
But like,
So,
now take that into the
so if we're
greatest.
yeah, if we're
Yeah,
in it as we're in it now, we don't know till we know after,
till
right?
the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can only trust that people are making the right decisions.
Hmm.
So, which brings us to the UFO thing.
Hmm.
This is like the craziest conspiracy of all time. Have you? Did you look at anything I sent you?
I was watching the Stephen Greer one.
Okay, bro. Like, so you're telling me that there's a global capitalist elite people, defense contractors with all these things attempting to stage like a mass hysteria event of like having these UFOs in the sky. If that's true, like this is the psyop, bro. It's like people will be like, well, they did it for the right reasons. Like we're saying, like we won't know till after. But it's
Yeah.
like, but they are manipulating you. So we're all just being pawns in this game.
Hmm.
I think this is what the real issue is. It's like we're all literally being pawns in someone else's game.
Hmm. Right.
But it's like if you go back to the true power of us, which is our imagination, it's like read about it, look into it, and ask yourself, do I want to be a part of that game?
Hmm.
But then that's the problem for them because then how do they keep order if you don't want to play a part of the game?
Sure. Right.
Right? It's like, okay, we're gonna stage this mass UFO thing called Project Bluebeam. People are gonna freak out, and we're all just gonna work together as a one world government to take on like this thing, this like alien invasion. We tested
So
it with
let's say.
COVID.
So let's
Okay,
say. Yeah. So say that the alien invasion is a true thing. We're doing these things in order to protect humanity for the
wait,
future.
wait. Psyop or real? You mean that there's an alien invasion coming?
Yeah. Yeah. If that's all, let's just. I'm just saying if that's what they believe is real.
No, 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 no. That's the psyop. Like that. That's the
So what's the
That's
psyop
not what they
for?
believe.
Okay.
No, no. Okay, so Werner von Braun allegedly said like if you created a UFO hoax, the entire world will band together under a one world government,
Hmm.
and you can rule the entire world against a fake enemy. There is no alien invasion
Oh.
coming.
Okay. Okay. Right.
But they're gonna tell you that an alien invasion is coming using their stagecraft material, their alien reproduction vehicles, and then
So
put them in the sky. You're like,
right.
dude,
Right.
what is
Right.
this? Oh, we need to use ours.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, it's gonna be like World War IV,
Hmm.
but it's gonna be a real world war. Like the whole world's gonna go against this alien thing.
Hmm.
But you know, uh, for those of you who believe that 9/11 was an inside job, it's basically that you create 9/11, and then people will go to war with like banding together against a common enemy.
Hmm.
So that's what Project Bluebeam is. They believe that there's certain like conspiracy theorists believe that they're going to stage an alien invasion and then we're going to um, band together to fight against them.
Hmm.
Okay, that's the context. Now go with your thing. What were you gonna say?
That's the context from the other side, right?
From the people manipulating things, yeah. Like that's what Project Bluebeam is. Like
No.
but then the narrative.
Hmm.
Okay, so since like the 1960s, they talked about this hoaxing an alien invasion thing. Okay. But the mass media is telling us we don't know what these things are. They could be like aliens.
Hmm.
Now we're all like, oh, dude, I got to protect my family against aliens. So, like, what we're being fed is the manipulation of these like tactics that they already came up with a long time ago. Do you follow me?
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Like there is no alien invasion coming,
No, I understand. Yeah, yeah,
but they're gonna tell us that. They're gonna slowly make us like we don't know what these are. That's what they've already said.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, they're not a threat until they are a threat. You know, like Lou Elizondo said, they're only a threat. We classify them as a threat because we don't know their intent,
Mm-hmm.
right? So it's like it could be a threat. Okay, so you already put in my mind like it could be a threat.
Right.
Oh, okay. Wait, hold on. I realize. Okay, so Stephen Greer thinks that Lou Elizondo is a plant.
Okay.
He thinks that Lou Elizondo is here to prime the public into this blue beam.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, that's the context. Because I saw your face and I was like, oh yeah, you don't know that part. So that's why Stephen Greer doesn't like Lou Elizondo. But what I'm saying is Lou Elizondo and Stephen Greer are saying the same thing. But Stephen Greer thinks that Lou is a plant. But
Okay.
then in Lou's thing, Lou is saying, hey, these could be a threat, which does make sense because, like, under military guideline, you don't know if something's a threat until you know its intent.
Mm-hmm.
It has the capability of, like, being a threat, but until you know its intent, then you won't know if it's a threat or not.
Sure.
But Stephen Greer's like, he's an actor pushing forward this Project Bluebeam narrative. Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Do
yeah,
you get
yeah.
the players now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So it's like we are all pawns. That's why I feel like, dude, we're all pawns in this game. If this is real, we're all just pawns.
Sure.
Like, what do you think?
Well, we have
Like,
no
do you think we're all
control. If we
pawns?
are pawns, then yeah, we have no control over what's going
No,
on then, right?
but we have the ability to choose a side and then listen to what we think is right or wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But that's through our visualization. Our superpower is being able to decide on a course of action and then actualize that course of action. Right? Be creative, but you need specific inputs. And like if you don't have all the information, how can you make the right choice?
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like you need, but the media is one direction. It's presenting one unified narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Right. But then that's why Stephen Greer speaking out, he's like, no, there's another narrative here.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's like, which narrative are we collectively going to choose? And that's going to change the trajectory of the human race.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
You follow me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. So like, how do we like, I guess more of it's more like a sentiment I'm feeling, which is like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, we're all just in this game, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like, irregardless of that thing, like that's just a, like an overt example of us being pawns in everyone else's game.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
Like commerce is like basically us being pawns in their game. But
Mm-hmm.
we vote with our dollars, right?
Yeah.
But it could be like we vote with our fears. Cause like during COVID, remember they like locked everything down. It's like, you have no say. You have to get this vaccine. It's like, could we be heading towards like COVID 2.0 with this thing? Like, what do you think? Like, imagine if they're like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, there's alien invasion, stay inside. We're like, oh, 2.0.
Right.
Like, what, like, do you think it's like, do you think that's a potential? Do you think that's like a good thing? Do you think it's a bad thing?
Well, yeah, I think if it's an alien invasion, they want to protect citizens or join
It
the
makes
army,
sense, right?
right? Yeah.
Yeah, join the army. Let's battle against this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Our economy will start booming,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like, it isn't until after the fact that we realize we've been duped. You know, like the 500-page report about COVID now, it's like, oh yeah, it did come out from China. But like if you said that before, they'd be like, oh dude, you can't say that.
Mm-hmm.
You know? So it's like, are we constantly being pushed and pulled in specific directions by people who have a vested interest only in themselves to make money and rule the world?
Sure, yeah. There'll be people trying to push buttons. Yeah, of course.
And it kind of seems like that, right? You're
Hmm.
like, bro.
But to be able to
And
but to be able to hear both sides, right? People are like streaming
but you
gurus.
can't. But that's the thing, right? YouTube's allowing you to do it. But why isn't he on CNN? Why is he not on Joe Rogan? He
Hmm.
said that Joe Rogan's like mainstream media. He got 100. He's like, why do you think Joe Rogan made $100 million?
But what
Like,
I'm saying is
yeah.
like, yeah, but both are still available, right? Doesn't matter. Like, it's on YouTube. YouTube is pretty big.
Oh, do you mean Joe Rogan's one?
Stephen Greer.
Right, right. So Stephen Greer, he had an episode with Joe Rogan, but
No, no,
Joe
I
Rogan had to
understand. I
take.
understand
Okay,
that. You know, but you can still get like Stephen Greer is still being interviewed now, right, with other people.
exactly, because he's using the free platforms. He's using like YouTube, social
No, but
media,
like
like.
YouTube is just Google, right? What do you mean by free platform?
Oh, so you're like, oh, what I mean is like unregulated.
I don't think
They're
YouTube's
they're
not
regulated.
regulated.
No, wait. No, I'd say YouTube's kind of unregulated because you could
No,
just pull whatever up there.
no, you
But you can
can't.
pull whatever up
No,
there.
you can't.
Like, what do you mean?
Like
Like,
hateful
what
stuff,
kind
you
of?
can't put hateful stuff.
Yeah, okay, right. But I mean, like it has the loosest. Like, I can watch I can go on like a crazy binge of like alien conspiracies. They're not going to take that down,
No, no, I understand
or
that.
like
What I'm
anti-vax
saying is, no, no,
conspiracies.
yeah, yeah, but like you can also like report them and stuff, right? So if they really didn't want Stephen Greer stuff, we wouldn't be
Why
getting
is he
any
on
of
there?
yeah, why we wouldn't get any of his
Because
stuff, right?
he's latching on to celebrities, which is the most genius move. So he
Hmm.
had like the podcast I sent you is he was on David
What I mean,
Spade's
latching
podcast
on to I know, latching on to celebrities, yeah, but like
because you
uh
can't take down the celebrity. The celebrity would be like, bro, why is he taking down my podcast with Stephen Greer?
no, but they took down the podcast with Joe Rogan,
That was a choice. Joe Rogan had to do that to get the deal.
right?
So so they, so like, if the celebrity wants you on there, they'll have you on there. But in order to make $100 million, Joe Rogan had to take down specific episodes.
Hmm.
And that's what Stephen Greer is saying. Like, that's why he's like, oh, he's a shill.
Hmm.
He's not presenting the full information because why hasn't he had Stephen Greer on? No, that's but
Sure,
really,
right,
why
right,
haven't you
right.
had Stephen Greer back on, bro?
Hmm.
Like, this guy's made so many documentaries. Everyone's like, if you watch the clip, which is, it kind of freaked me out. I was like, that's a little weird. Um, Steven Tyler was on Joe Rogan. Steven Tyler, like, uh, not Aerosmith. Red, oh my God, Rolling Stones.
Hmm. Oh yeah, yeah,
Steven
okay,
Tyler, the
yeah, yeah,
lead
yeah.
singer of Rolling Stones. Okay. And Steven Tyler was like, you have to watch Stephen Greer's documentary. And
Hmm.
then Joe Rogan just started to be like, he's like, these people that say that they know everything, like they're just making money off of it. And it's like, dude, Stephen Greer is actually not making any money off of this. He's just trying to tell the truth. The only other person that I'm like, Sean Ryan, why I like him is because he's had Stephen Greer on. He's like, okay, tell me what you want to know. And like Sean Ryan vetted these people. They're military people. Sean Ryan's an ex Navy SEAL. So he started to have Stephen Greer's like whistleblowers on. So it's like, I'll
Hmm.
believe that versus Joe Rogan on the alien topic because like, why is Joe Rogan only having one narrative on there?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's like Stephen Greer is latching onto these celebrities because then he can't be silenced. Because then the celebrities will be like, why are you silencing him?
Right.
Which makes him more popular. You
So
see what I'm saying?
wouldn't he be able to have him on now that the $100 deal? Like he's on
Yeah.
both, right?
But we don't know what the continued deal is. That's why I said, why isn't Stephen Greer on Joe Rogan, bro?
Hmm.
Stephen Greer's making the rounds right now, bro. You were on Blossom's podcast. You're on David Spade's podcast. You're on Sean Ryan's podcast. Why are you not on Joe Rogan?
Hmm.
Oh, Joe Rogan doesn't know about him? You had an old episode with this guy.
Hmm.
You see what I'm saying? It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
that's weird to me
right.
that you didn't have Stephen Greer on,
Hmm.
but you're having like all these publicly accepted narrative people
Hmm.
who push like a threat agenda,
Right.
right? So now, again, it's like, am I being a pawn? Like these
Hmm.
little things of like, what's going on here?
Right.
You know? But I feel like there's so many things aside from like this alien thing. remember the thing we started off with, like the cultural shift?
Hmm.
It's like there's all these like little signals of where things are going,
Hmm.
and then you're like, you just have to read the signal, bro.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah.
you know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right, right.
Like we look prophetic. You're like, dude, you knew that, but it's like, no, you just read the signal, bro. Like
Hmm.
we go back to our COVID podcast. We were talking about the economic ramifications of COVID. People were not thinking about that. Now we're currently in the economic ramifications. Like, oh my god, gas prices are so high. We're like, we literally talked about it. You and I literally talked about this.
Hmm.
You know, but it's like you're not looking at the small like flags. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, this looks like a red flag. This looks like a red flag. This looks like a red
Sure.
flag.
Right.
Right. So like if the alien invasion comes, I told Tara, I was like, just one thing I want you to do if aliens start invading. She's like, what? Just say you were right. That's it. I don't care. We could die tomorrow. Just say I was right. Cause it's
Mm.
like, bro, it's all like adding up to something. And you know, do you
Right.
feel that too? Or maybe I'm going crazy.
Um. No, because I don't see it enough. Right. I'm not in that circle.
Totally. Right. That's why I'm trying to send you the things. Cause I'm like, bro, like, look at this. Look at this. Right. But like out of everything I've said, you know, what'd be really crazy though. Imagine if like you look at this podcast, like, oh, it's the deterioration of BJ's sanity. Like as the podcast goes on. No, but for real
Sure.
though, does it sound crazy or like
No, no, no. I mean, yeah, they're
I'm willing to? I'm open to being like, dude, this is crazy. But I'm also like, I want equally that other people are like, there could be a psyop going on,
yeah, sure. It seems like that. Sure, yeah, but I don't know. Like,
right?
what happens if it's the actual alien invasion is actually a true thing?
That would be crazy.
So then,
Like
they're
that.
are they doing the
Then you're
right
like,
thing?
damn.
Yeah, I don't know.
And maybe you are doing the right thing. Like
I,
that's why I'm
either
like
they both
anxious.
believe that
But
they're
yeah.
doing the right thing. I don't know.
No, yeah, you're right. You're right. Because you said that, right? Like
Yeah.
the only difference is like who's doing the right thing and the wrong thing.
Hmm.
But you both think you're doing the right thing. So like maybe an alien invasion is coming and they're trying to protect us.
Hmm.
Like, yeah, yeah. Because what's his name said that too, Forbidden Knowledge. He was like, in one of the Emerald tablets, it says like an enemy will come from deep space. So it's like, is that what you're talking about? That's about to happen? Like, what's going on?
I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean aliens. Could mean asteroids.
That's true too. You're right. You're right. That's true too. Do you think it's, do you think that the government has the right to hide the fact that aliens are among us? That's the one thing that Stephen Greer and Lou Elizondo are both like championing all the time,
Hmm.
which is like that's why they did the disclosure thing. They're like the government can have all the secrecy it wants on tradecraft. Like you don't need to tell us about how these like bombs work or whatever, but like a fundamental truth about reality we should all know about, which is aliens exist. Are you in that camp too or no?
Sure. Yeah, I'll be for that.
But what if
So yeah,
okay, so
so that's what I'm saying.
okay.
Like, aren't they both fighting for that? Louis Elizondo and Stephen Greer.
They are, yeah. But once you uncover that, then you start unraveling the cabal of like stolen money and like these global international things that are running the show. You know, it's like
Hmm.
because like okay, sure, aliens exist. All right, who's why have you been hiding that from us?
Hmm.
What I'm saying is like the questions that come after that become so damning. You know, it's like how long have you known this?
Hmm.
Do you have bodies of them?
Sure.
You have bodies of them.
Hmm.
Okay, why are you keeping this secret?
Hmm.
What are these alien vehicles? You know what I mean? Like you can't protect us from this impending alien invasion if you admit that aliens are real in the wrong way. Like you have to frame them as the enemy kind of thing.
Sure.
But if you just do it like, oh yeah, just a bunch of aliens exist.
Hmm.
under the threat narrative, like if you're like aliens exist and we're protecting you from them, we don't want to tell you because they could take over, blah 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 blah. Like
Hmm.
I don't even know what like the rationale would be from hiding that, but like we've it's almost like the Copernican revolution all over again when they're like the Earth is in the center of the solar system.
Right.
Like, why did they hide that from us? They were literally killing people
Oh
to
yeah,
hide
yeah.
that information. But they're like, but why? Like, why did you need to hide that?
Well, yeah,
To
like.
keep certain people in power, like the Christian church and like whatever.
Hmm. Hmm.
Or like, I don't know. Do you know another?
No, I mean, like it could be that part of that thing of Christian in power, but also they didn't want society to go crazy because then they think God doesn't exist or something.
Right.
Right.
But then that's the alien thing again, bro. We're
Right.
going through another Copernican revolution, bro.
So then,
It's like,
in
oh,
yeah,
humans
yeah,
aren't the
yeah.
only thing.
Right, right, right. What I'm saying is, which one they were afraid of the world going crazy. So then everything just
So,
becomes chaos. That's what they were
right.
afraid of.
Right. Do you think that's right or wrong? Do you think that do you think that there's the potential of the world going crazy?
No, I think that they have a right to be afraid of the world turning to chaos. So they're trying to protect people, right?
But you just said that you think that it should be public knowledge that aliens exist. So then it's like you can't have both.
Yeah, that's why
See what I
they
mean?
live.
Like,
That's why they live in the gray world of trying to figure out how do we release that information without the world going crazy,
right. But you
right?
as a public spectator are like, you should tell us. But then it's like, oh, but you can also see the side of like
But I'm a different
them.
person than I don't. I don't know how
Yeah.
people how the general public is going to handle that, right? If the world does go crazy, then it's not safe for me either, right? It's just the world becomes unsafe,
Facts.
right?
So then you should be keeping the secret then. See what I mean? It's like you can't
No,
have
what I'm saying,
disclosure and not disclosure.
yeah, but I'm
You know?
saying, yeah, but you asked me personally, and personally, I don't think I'll be going crazy. But what they're afraid of is the world going crazy, right?
Totally.
Right.
Totally. And then now the question is, so then it goes back to itself. It's like, do we have a right to know?
Hmm.
We have a right to know. Okay, but then the world will go crazy. Okay, so we don't have the right to know. See how it loops on itself?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
if
Do you
you if
want?
you
Yeah. Do you
believe
want? Yeah. You want people to go out burning things, going crazy? Like that's the like if that's all true, right? So that would be the fear that you don't want that to happen. So you're trying to figure out a way to get it out there, but without like the same way we still got the information that the Earth is not the center of the universe,
right,
and I don't know how long like what that process was like to not have the world go crazy.
but then who gets to choose whether they think the world will go crazy or not?
I
Like
don't.
it's almost like
Right.
you're we're being parented.
Sure.
So we all want the freedom. It's like, do you? Do you want the freedom?
Hmm.
Or like, do you want your parent to look after you for the rest of your life?
So
You know what I
it
mean?
comes down to yeah, leadership. Sometimes that president or whoever it is to just be like, no, I don't think the world's going to go crazy. I think right.
And that is why things are cooking right now, bro. That's why they literally said that it's going to be crazy right before Trump enters office.
Hmm.
Cuz a lot of people believe, especially in the UFO community, they believe that Trump's going to out the UFO thing. Cuz it's a big topic. RFK
Sure.
Jr. is a big proponent of this UFO thing,
Hmm.
about this cabal, cuz he believes his family was killed by these people that are trying to keep it secret,
Hmm.
like
Right.
Kennedy, his father, and his uncle. And like because the people that are keeping the secret from everyone, they think that like, oh no, like it's gonna hit the fan. So let's start Project Bluebeam now.
Hmm.
And that's why the New Jersey thing. It's not even in New Jersey. It's all around the world. UFO sightings have exploded. And they're like, why? It's because Trump's going to enter office. And they're really worried that he might just like spill the beans.
Right.
Because you said like it's all about the leader. And it's like
Hmm.
we are in that end of times. of like the old way, not like the end of the world, but like
Right.
we're hitting like that point, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And Stephen Greer was saying that within the next like early January, we're gonna get a mind blowing like series of information that comes out.
Early
And
January,
big
but then that's still Joe
is
Biden, right?
now. No, like during the time of the office, some because there's a whistleblower that he is. That's why he's making all the rounds right now. There's a whistleblower that's going to come forward in like the next month,
Mm-hmm.
and this person's like highly up there, and he's just going to out the secrets because that whistleblower feels like it's the correct time now.
Mm-hmm.
It's like with the administration and like with the way the world is and like the interest in UFOs, he's like, okay, I'm going to come forward. So like we could see the craziest like truth. Like we could essentially get all this verified in the next few weeks. I'm
Okay.
holding them to it because he was saying it's like within about a month because they're
Mm-hmm.
getting all like the ducks in order to like meet with specific Congress people and then make this like public.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you think?
Yeah, interesting stuff.
We'll wait till see, right? But now I'm like, bro. Yeah. That's why I had to make my word of the year abundance because I'm like, bro, I cannot be thinking about this into 2025. Like 2024, I was already freaking out like with the year of truth, like what's gonna drop, what's gonna drop. But like that's enough anxiety for that year.
Yeah.
We'll wait to just now. Like
Right, right, right.
no matter what happens, let's just move forward with like good vibes only.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Um any other things?
No, I don't think so.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Yeah.
It will be an interesting it will be super interesting. I before we end, I just want to throw this out there because I have as like one of the topics. I didn't know how to work it in, so it's like just throw it as an afterthought. Um, I I went to my second class at 10th Planet.
Okay.
You know what's crazy? That like you so the whole concept of 10th Planet is like nerd assassins.
Mm-hmm.
People who like overly think about jujitsu in a way that like you come up with the crazy entries. That's why I'm like, oh, this is a really good team, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so when I've been doing jujitsu, it's always like 1+1, right? It's like, okay, this is an armbar, this is a basic entry, this is like how you're gonna enter it, right? It's like it's very systematic, like 1+1 = 2.
Right.
But then 10th Planet is like you're introduced to like calculus and like what if their arm is in this direction? What if their arm's in that direction? And then like all the myriad of ways that you can break the arm off of a very slight
Mm-hmm.
shift in the arm. And I'm like, bro, I don't understand how anybody could have spent like 12 years of your life and not pursue this level of like not excellence, but understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. Balloons. It agreed with me, bro.
Right.
No, but for real though,
Yeah, yeah,
it's like
yeah, yeah,
dude, imagine spending like 15 years of your life and you're like, oh, I think I know this thing, and then you're like, oh,
Sure.
you only know addition.
Mm-hmm.
Here's calculus now, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, bro,
Right. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's
you
good
think you have
to.
like,
I mean, yeah, it's good to expand and, as you said, right? Like just now that you went to another gym, or at least you've always thought about this place, but you know.
yeah, true, because they've always said it. They're like, these are the where the intellectuals go, and then everyone always said like intellectually, like jujitsu's super intellectual, like Joe Rogan, but Joe Rogan's a 10th Planet black belt, so that makes sense. I get it now, like seeing that like
Mm-hmm.
level when people are like no gi is a watered down version of gi because like you don't
Yeah,
have
yeah, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the
Right.
top like the grips.
Sure.
I'm actually no, it's the total opposite, bro.
Yeah, it sounds more opposite.
Because like you're actually taking away handles.
Mm-hmm.
It's way harder to control because like how do you keep an arm in place if there's no friction?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like if you're sweating,
Right. Yeah, yeah,
if you're shirtless, they could slip out. You know what I mean? Like
yeah. Mm-hmm.
but now you have to be really precise in your entry of how you're gonna break that arm because they could just slightly move and it's like all gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like all that to say, I'm pretty stoked about it. But like, it's opened this whole new doorway. I'm like, oh, I actually really did know nothing. Like, what have I been doing?
Right.
But then it's like, what do other people with the egoic mind of like, well, I've been doing this for 15, 20 years. Like, what do you know? And then
Right.
like that would be earth shattering for me. I just don't know if anyone else feels that way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
spend like 20 years of your life on one thing and then you're like, oh, dude, I was studying the wrong thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just
Well,
a thought.
yeah, yeah. If they don't
Yeah, yeah.
know, then they don't know, right?
Right. Right. And I think that's why it's important to have as many experiences as possible. It's just like, just subject yourself to things and like, why wouldn't you want the highest level of truth? Oh, you know what? I take that back. But why wouldn't you want the highest level of truth? Like, there's some things that your brain just cannot handle.
Sure.
Because imagine how existential that would be. Like, dude, I spent 15 years of my life and I wasted it.
Mm-hmm.
You would feel like you wasted 15 years of your life.
Sure. Yeah, yeah,
And then it's like her, man. It's like, oh, that wasn't real. That wasn't real.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyways, um, nothing's real, bro. Nothing's real unless you believe it to be real.
Right.
That'll be the takeaway. All right. Any final thoughts?
No, we'll see what. No, nothing much. Next week's all CES.
Oh, that'll be cool. That'll be cool. See where the technology
Public
is heading.
technology is headed.
Public. I was about to. Yeah, I love that you corrected it because I was going to say that too. I was like, well, the commercial, the superficial technology. Yes. What they will sell to us. Let's see what they will sell to us. Because
Right.
they are definitely working on some crazy stuff behind the scenes.
Sure.
Yeah. Oh, all right. Actually, you know what? Final question for you. With now that you're slowly digging into it a little more, do you see more credibility in the UFO topic of like this cabal of secrecy?
I'm
Or
like,
do you think those people are crazy? Like maybe they're crazy. Maybe I'm falling into like some crazy thing that's like, oh, dude, like Scientology's real. You know what I mean? Like,
mhm.
dude, you're becoming a Scientologist. Not literally, but you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I don't. I'm not disagreeing with the aspect that they have technology that nobody knows about. I don't disagree with that. I think that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Do you think that? Do you believe in the like Beyond Black projects, where it's like there's a black budget that only the president can see, and then there's a Beyond Black, which is like the president can't even see this budget, like what we're working on.
I don't know. But maybe I don't know how that level of secrecy works, or DARPA, or things like that, right? So
Right? Yeah.
yeah.
But you're like now that I've been sending you more, it's like it's like more credible.
Well, credible in the sense that, as in, America is working on things or has things that nobody knows about. I would
Yeah.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. But then the next question is, where did you get that technology from, bro?
See, that I don't know if I'm there.
You know what I
yet.
mean?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. But that's the next. So like you've already entered. You're like, okay, yeah, I agree. There's probably things that,
Mhm.
which is the natural train of thought, and that's where I'm headed now. Where it's just like, that's why I can say this with so much certainty. It's just like, okay, I agree that there's probably tech that you've been working on. But then the next question becomes like, where did you get that tech, and how come not everyone knows about that tech? And that's when you start going into like, oh, dude, something nefarious is going on.
Mhm.
So I'll wait till you hit that point, unless you think I'm crazy.
Okay.
Or maybe I'm making you crazy
Maybe.
as I go crazy. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Anyways. All right, until next week, Tasty Fish.
Peace.
Bye. All right, hope you enjoyed that episode. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, all those fun things, and check out our sponsors, Zenro Clothing Co., Portian Bakery, and Podbean. Take it easy, Fish.
Peace.